How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to Rangers Rundown. Well, I guess the Rangers are only allowed to win 2 games in a row this season. 3, that would just be ridiculous. 3 wins in a row? Nah. Two is the cap, and I think that's good for the season. Rangers fall to the Islanders for the second time this season. Varlamov with his second shutout of the season against the Rangers. He has not let up a goal against the Rangers this entire season. And now there are still 5 more games against these two teams. We'll see if he can keep that streak alive, because why not? Shesterkin was in net. Keep riding the hot goalie. I'm glad Quinn changed his mindset from just flip-flopping back and forth between the two goalies. You ride the hot hand, and I wouldn't say that this is Shesterkin's fault at all. The 2 goals that were scored were on the flukier side. You know, I think we'll see Shesterkin again Wednesday night. Maybe, 3 games in a row for Shesterkin, that's enough, and they give Georgiev a shot on Wednesday night. We'll just have to see what Quinn does. Similar lineup to the other night, if not exactly the same. I didn't check, but it might be exactly the same. Top line, Kreider, Zibanejad, Buchnevich, Panarin, Strome, Kakko on the second line, Lafreniere, Howden, DiGiuseppe on the third line, bottom line, Lemieux, Rooney, and Gauthier, with defense pairings of Lindgren, Fox, Miller, Trouba, Hayek, and Bitetto. So Smith, still injured. Johnson, still injured. Hedl, still injured. Blackwood, still injured. And this is the lineup that we have. It worked well the other night. Tonight, it was kind of a war of attrition for most of the game until that third period with the 2 fluky goals. But I thought the Rangers played a defensively sound, albeit very boring game. I thought this was one of the more boring games of the season so far. As you can tell in the first period, nothing really of note happened the entire time. The only thing I have in the first period is Dal Cole takes a hooking penalty 80 seconds into the game. And the Rangers didn't really do anything with the power play. The power play did not look amazing tonight. It didn't look up to the standards that we have seen so far this season. They only had 1 shot on goal, but nothing really impressive. 7 minutes in, there was a little pressure from the Rangers. Halfway through the period, the shots are 5-2 in favor of the Rangers. So they're getting shots and they're not allowing a lot. So that's good. At about 10 and a half minutes, you get a little more pressure from the Rangers. And 13 minutes in, they had some good pressure, good sustained pressure a little bit. But really, that was it for the first period. It's very boring. No goals were scored, only 1 penalty, no fights, no nothing. Like, it was back and forth hockey, and neither team could really set anything up. DiGiuseppe had 3 of the 9 first period shots for the Rangers, so it's nice to see he's keeping his good play going. And just, this is a game you would expect playing against Barry Trotz and the Islanders. Like, going into the third period 0-0, is anybody surprised? Like, you're playing the Islanders. Of course it's going to be low scoring. That's just how they play. Second period, just under a minute in, Eberle hit the post. And then at 3:54, Shesterkin made a really good save. 4:41, I thought, was the Rangers' best chance of the game. It was a cross-crease pass to Zibanejad. It was the first time that the Rangers had a shot on goal that actually had some energy and some movement to it. So it was exciting to see that after an entire period of pretty boring hockey, things were starting to pick up. There was a bout of good pressure just after that Zibanejad chance. It seemed like that shot, it kind of reinvigorated the Rangers and had them pushing for a little bit. 6:15, Noah Dobson would take a hooking penalty, but nothing would come from that power play. It was tough for them to set up. Unsurprising against a team like the Islanders. 8:20, Nelson had a partial breakaway and almost scored a goal. It was a little scary. And the middle of this second period, things started to open up a little bit. It was a lot easier for both teams to get through the neutral zone and dump the puck in and get some sort of forecheck. Still not a lot of consistent pressure, but the game was just a lot more open. At least I saw. And then about 4 minutes left, about 16-minute mark of the period, Miller, again, saves another sure goal. He did it the other night, and he does it again now. Shesterkin's down on one side. The pass comes through. It's a sure open net. Miller gets his stick in there, blocks the pass. Like, the kid looks great for being 21 and a rookie in the NHL. He's one of the Rangers' best defensemen this year, and it's really nice to see. And that would bring us to the end of the second period. Again, not much happening. Very boring game. So we enter into the third period. They threw up a little graphic. Through 2 periods, Lafreniere already had 4 hits, so it's nice to see him getting a little bit more physical, because I'm getting really tired of Lafreniere having the puck on his stick and getting knocked down to the ice. Like, it seems like every single game that happens at least once. He has the puck against the boards, and he ends up flat on the ice. Like, he's just getting knocked down left and right. So it's nice to see him kind of knocking guys around a little bit, getting a better feel for the NHL. 157, Panarin had a breakaway. Wouldn't score. Varlamov would shut the door on him. 317, Zibanejad had kind of a 2-on-1 chance, and Varlamov shut the door on that as well. So beginning of the third period, Rangers are pushing. And halfway through the period, very few stoppages. It was just back and forth. Throughout the first 9, 10-ish minutes of the period, it was just back and forth, both goalies standing really strong. Shesterkin lost, but he had a good game. He stopped 28 out of 30, which is respectable for a goalie in the NHL. But then 11-15, Zizekas would score a goal. It was kind of a scrummy, kind of sloppy play right in front of the crease, and it would end up in the back of the net. And then just over 2 minutes later, 13-20, Martin would score a goal. It was just a really fast shot pass from the half wall. It gets onto Martin's stick, and he's able to get it into the goal. It was fluky. You wouldn't even know what happened in real time. I sure didn't. I thought it was just a weird bounce, but it was a really accurate shot pass. It got onto his tape, and he was able to get it in. So it was, if you're an Islanders fan, it was a great goal. If you're a Rangers fan, it was continual puck luck not going for you. So within 2 minutes, they're up 2-0. And it's at that point, like, you know the Rangers aren't coming back from this. It's been 2.5 periods of war of attrition hockey. There's no way in the last 6 minutes of the game the Rangers are going to score 2 goals. It's just not going to happen. But at 14:27, Kakko had a really good chance, one of the best chances of the game for the Rangers, but wouldn't work. 16-13, Trouba would take the Rangers' first penalty of the game. It took until the end of the third period for the Rangers' discipline to kind of break down. And, you know, you're desperate. You're looking for a goal. Penalties are going to happen. But the Rangers only took 1 penalty tonight, so discipline-wise, they were playing really well. It was a very good penalty kill, and you could tell that the Rangers were trying for a shorthanded goal because they were doing their best to kind of airball the puck into the offensive zone to try and spring somebody for a shorthanded breakaway. It wouldn't work. They tried to spring Kreider, but it just kind of, he ended up behind the net and just had to skate out of there. With 1 minute and 14 seconds left, they pull Igor, get him to the bench, and then at 19:06, Pelech would take a delay of game penalty. The refs got together and talked about it. I guess it wasn't quite clear at first, but they did decide to give him the penalty for that. So the last 54-ish seconds of the game, Rangers had a power play, but nothing would happen. And the Rangers would fall to the Islanders 2-0. Shots were even, 30-30. Face-offs, 61.4% of the face-offs were won by the Rangers. They can win a game and only win 30% of the face-offs. And then they have a game where they win over 60% of the face-offs, but they get shut out. So maybe I've been focusing too hard on face-offs this season, because apparently it doesn't matter. Apparently it bears very little weight on who's actually going to win the game. You figure the more face-offs you win, the more time you have with the puck, the more chances you have to score, the more goals you're going to score. But I guess face-off percentage doesn't matter anymore. So we'll wave goodbye to that. Power play went 0 for 3. Hits even at 25 apiece. Blocks 19-14 in favor of the Rangers. And like I said before, Varlamov gets his second shutout of the year against the Rangers. Hasn't let up a goal yet against the Rangers. So he's playing well. I'm sure the next time these two teams meet, Varlamov will be in net, hoping for a third straight shutout against the same team. And we'll see what happens. Trivia question of the night. Panarin has 15 points in the first 10 games of the season. I think he's 8th in scoring in the league. So it's Panarin being Panarin. You know, it's more assists than it is goals, but that's kind of always been Panarin's game. That was his game last year, too. You know, he had 90-something points, and I don't know how many of them were assists. So the question was, who are the 3 Rangers in the last 30 years with more than 15 points in the team's first 10 games? I'll give you a second. I actually got one of these correct tonight. I usually don't get the trivia questions right, but tonight I was able to guess one of the 3 players correctly, so I'm just a little proud of myself for that one. But the answer is Darren Turcotte, Mark Messier, and Jaromir Jagr are the other 3 Rangers in the last 30 years with more than 15 points in the first 10 games of a season. The Rangers play Wednesday nights again at home against the Boston Bruins, who are clearly not too bad of a team, so we'll see what happens. They were able to play really well against a team like the Capitals, so here's hoping they can bounce back from this, disappointing third period loss and come in strong against a really good team. So we'll see what happens Wednesday night. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next rundown.